Hi everyone, it's Marisa from BumblebeeApothecary.com, and today I'm bringing you along in another What We Eat in a Day video. For breakfast, we are having some millet hot cereal. So millet is one of those things that's actually a seed, it's not really a true grain, so it can be easier to digest. And what I like to do is put it to soak the night before with some water, so it takes quite a bit of water. For millet, the ratio is 4 cups of water for every 1 cup of millet. So I will put the amount that I want to make, usually 2 cups at a time, along with enough water. So for 2 cups of millet, 8 cups of water. And I'll also add whey from homemade kefir and then let that soak overnight. And what that does is just helps to start breaking everything down, deactivating the anti-nutrients, and just makes it a lot easier to digest. And then the next day, I go ahead and cook it. So I bring it to a boil on the stove and then turn it down to a simmer, put a lid on. And then this one is a little bit of a longer cook time. So that's why I'm doing it now in the summer when school is out and we have a little bit slower mornings. The cook time for millet is actually 30 minutes. So then I just let that cook while we're doing some other things and having our other things. Like for example, this morning we're also having some kefir smoothies. So blueberries in homemade raw milk kefir, so people are having their smoothies before the cereal is done cooking. And actually today I reheated millet from yesterday morning. So I cooked it for the first time yesterday morning, and then I'm just I made a bunch of it. So I'm having it again this morning, just reheating it, just added a little extra water, heated it up on the stove, and then dished it out. And then I also have the blueberry kefir smoothies left over from yesterday as well. And so we're having the same thing 2 days in a row, which is fine with everybody. They like it, so makes things easier. And then for toppings, we were just doing a little bit of maple syrup and some raw milk. And then my youngest guy here, he is not eating grains or seeds or anything, any type of cereals like that yet. So for breakfast this morning, he is having scrambled eggs. I made a bunch of these yesterday, and so I'm just reheating some scrambled eggs and some bacon for him. So he's having that, and then he's also having the kefir blueberry smoothie in his little squeezy. For lunch today, we are doing a kind of a quick and easy thing. We are doing some sardines. So these are wild caught sardines in olive oil. You can get these a variety of places. We can get a big package of them at Costco, so we'll get those on a pretty regular basis. And so today we're having those for lunch. We are having them with mustard. Not everybody likes mustard on them, so some people are, some people aren't. I do like mustard. And then for those of us who are eating crackers, we're having some sourdough einkorn crackers along with them. And then cutting up some carrots for carrot sticks, and then for fermented food, having some beet kvass. And here is my youngest guy. He's not having crackers yet, so with his sardines, he's having some little cooked carrot pieces, and then he's got a little bit of butter there, and he is good to go with that. And then the next guy up from him, the 3-year-old, he did not want crackers. He wanted just sardines. And so sometimes it's up to their preference too. Sometimes they just, even if they're having crackers, fine, they don't want them. So that's what he chose to do. He chose to just eat a bunch of sardines, no crackers, and that was good for him. And then for dinner tonight, we are having liver with bacon and onions. So liver and onions with bacon. So to make that, I have some bacon grease already in the pan here left from cooking bacon. So I have that in there, and then I also just finished rendering a bunch more lard. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more lard to the pan as well. So this is one of those things that the Weston A. Price Foundation talks about, how liver is very high in vitamin A. So this is beef liver that I'm making today. Beef liver is very high in vitamin A, which is really helpful for a lot of things. And then pork from free-range pigs is high in vitamin D. So that's coming from the bacon and the lard. And so that those two vitamins are very important to have together in the right ratios, and the Weston A. Price Foundation talks about how eating the food versions in different ways, and liver with free-range pork is one of those ways, is a really great way to balance them out and give your body those wonderful fat-soluble vitamins that are so important to so many things and that we are so deficient in our modern world because they're just not part of our diet, at least in the Western world, like they used to be. And anyway, we are having that. So I have my lard and bacon grease heating up in my cast iron skillet, and I'm going to go ahead and start cutting up my onions, just slicing them kind of thinly. And then the key to making this dish turn out really good so that the liver is enjoyable to eat with a good flavor is not cooking the liver too much. So I should add a little bit of background here. I come from being a long-time person who could not stand liver, and my body needed it so badly. And I have another video where I talk about how I overcame chronic migraines by including raw beef liver on a daily basis. So I would cut up a grass-fed beef liver and swallow it raw in little pill forms, and that was totally life-changing. Since then, I have worked further on liver support for myself and am completely migraine-free now, and I don't need to take liver every day like that, but I do include it on a regular basis in my diet, and one of the ways is cooking liver this way. We also will do pate, but all that to say, I used to be a person who could not stand to eat liver, and I just kept working at it. I kept including it, and the more that I've had it, the more I actually have come to enjoy it. And I think it's because, this is just me, just my little theory, as those nutrients are built up, specifically B vitamins, then I think the body starts to be like, hey, wait a minute, this is actually really helpful. It's not so bad. Hey, I actually even like it. So that's been my experience, my experience with my kids, and then also people that I've worked with on the GAPS diet as well. Just the more you have it, the more your body actually starts to enjoy it. So my mind is blown because growing up I could not stand liver, and here I am making liver and onions for dinner, eating it, and actually enjoying it. So anyway, the key is if you've ever had liver and onions before and didn't like it, it's very likely that it was cooked too much. So the key is keeping the temperature nice and gentle. So to start off, I have it a little bit higher just to heat everything up. So I have it like medium high for right now. And then I'm adding my onions. And once I have all the onions in there cut up and starting to cook, then I will lower the heat down to medium, and then I'll just really watch it. I will either lower it to just below medium or keep it at medium just so that everything is gently cooking. We want the onions to cook very gently in the fat just so that they're nice and soft and kind of sweet. So I'll add those, get them cooking, stir them around, let them go long enough to where they're just getting nice and soft and sweet. While they're cooking, I'll go ahead and cut up the bacon. I try to cut it up into nice small little pieces so that it can mix in there with the liver and so that you can eat them together, which makes everything taste really good. Now that the onions are almost cooked to where I'd like them to be, they're getting nice and soft and sweet, I am going to go ahead and stir them around a bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the bacon. And I want to keep an eye on the temperature. I want it hot enough to where the bacon is cooked, but I don't want anything to get too, like the onions to start to burn or anything like that. So I keep it pretty gentle, right around medium. And then I just stir that now and then to make sure that the bacon cooks through evenly. And then while that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting up my liver. So this is a pretty quick, straightforward dinner to put together. Really the most time-consuming part is just cutting up the liver. So I have that. I'm just going to cut it in as small pieces as I can. You might notice that as I start with pretty small pieces, and then they tend to get a little bit bigger as I'm just like, okay, let's get done with this. And then as I'm running out of room on my cutting board, I will go ahead and just add the liver to the pan just on top of the onions and bacon. I'll just verify that the bacon looks like it's cooked through nicely, and then start going ahead and adding the liver on top so that I can just clear up some room for myself on the cutting board. And then just continue cutting up all the rest of that bacon and add it. And at this point, I stir everything and I watch my heat. So what I want is for the liver to cook on the outside so that you can tell that it's obviously cooked on the outside, not bloody or anything like that. You want it cooked, but the inside's still pink. So think of like steak or something where the inside is still pink. That's what we're going for. So this is really high quality organic grass-fed beef liver that's been frozen for more than 14 days, so I'm not concerned about safety or anything. But this is the way to make it turn out really tasty, is to keep the heat very gentle. Just gently cook the outside, keep the inside pink, and I'll just keep stirring it, watching for it to be done, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. And for amounts, in case anybody was wondering, just for reference, I usually will do 1 package of bacon, so it's like a 10-ounce package of bacon. I will do a package of liver, so the liver that I have comes in about 2 pounds per package, so package of bacon, 2 pounds of liver, and then 4 onions, and then just some good generous dollops of either lard or butter in the beginning for the fat for it to cook in. Okay, and then it's time to go ahead and serve this now that it's ready. So I just watch for that magic time when it's cooked on the outside, still pink on the inside, and I go ahead and call it good right at that point and don't keep cooking it any further than that. So we're having this on some sourdough bread. So oftentimes I like to do the sprouted spelt sourdough bread, but sometimes I will do this other sourdough bread that's also a nice long ferment. It's like a San Francisco type of sourdough. So sometimes I'll do that. I have a little bit of butter spread on there, and then we'll go ahead and just pile the liver and onions and bacon on top of the bread and eat it that way. And then something that I'll do, like I just finished rendering a bunch of lard, so I have these cracklings left from the lard, and so we'll sprinkle a little bit of those on there just for a little bit of a crispy topping, and then sprinkle some nice high quality mineral salt on there. So we have Baja Gold that I'm using this time. And then for our fermented food with this meal, we are having some sauerkraut. All right, I hope that you enjoyed coming along for another What We Eat in a Day video. Be sure and check out that description box for links to where I like to buy a lot of the different things that I use and cook with and make. Also check out that description box for links to free ebooks and other goodies. I also have some meal plans down there. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anybody else that you think would enjoy it or find it interesting. And if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I get out new videos every week on nourishing recipes and natural living. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.